Welcome to the Sangani Show, where we will talk about everything health, wealth, and wisdom. I came to the US in 1983 from Mumbai, India with $10.45 in my pocket and with a big dream in my heart. Now, I'm a practicing cardiologist, a businessman, an entrepreneur, life mentor, and most importantly, a dad. I have lost some, I won some. But every time I lost or won, I learned even more. And my success has not been easy, but finally I made it. And my next mission is to help you do the same. Learn from my experiences, and that is life is a business.
Hello, and welcome to the Sangani Show. My name is Dr. Bharat Sangani, and your favorite doctor and the host. Today I have a very special person that I would like to introduce to all of you. And the reason this person is here is we call it How to Build a Better You. And most people who are listening or watching, they really don't like to exercise. So how can we make something that most of us don't like and make it more exciting and make it more fruitful so we understand and we start enjoying the fruits of doing exercise and be healthy? So the special person today in the studio here his name is David Freeman. He's a very accomplished individual. Just to give a little bit of glimpses of his accomplishment, I will start with saying he's a health and fitness professional that has been in the fitness industry for 15 plus years. He's at the same place since 2008, and that tells you how dedicated he is to whatever he is doing. David is the North America Director of Alpha with Lifetime. We all know Lifetime, one of the best brands that's out there, which encourage us to exercise. And he has been featured on the cover of Experience Life magazine as an innovator within the health and fitness industry. And we'll talk to him more about what innovations he has created. And was featured in Men's Health and Men's Journal as a subject matter expert in helping change lives around the world and grow Lifetime's performance brand, Alpha. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about Alpha. David attended the University of Richmond, where he played football and went to play professionally overseas, where he first found his calling and purpose as a fitness professional. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, David, tell us a little bit about you. We are very intrigued. You have a very interesting journey of life, and we would really like to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I've been in health and fitness, surrounded with it throughout my whole life. My father, military, mother, super active in the early stages of our life, and discipline was very, very key. So it was not really an option. It was like we were getting up in the morning early to work out, to pull tires, and to run around the block. And this was just a way of life. So it came very, common for me to step into this space, and it felt super comfortable. That's where I started to truly enjoy the sports of life, whether that was football, a little bit of track here and there. And that's where I really started to fall in love with movement. It was a very early on in my life. And ever since then, it's been rocking and rolling.
Cool. Well, you are the director for the entire North America on the Alpha program for Lifetime. And when I first met you, I wanted to know more about it myself, and you gave me a very good explanation.
Yeah.
So please let our viewers know what exactly does Alpha mean, and Lifetime itself is a brand for exercise. Why do we need a brand in a brand?
Yeah, well, you got to think of Alpha itself lives within the umbrella of Lifetime, which is a Healthy Way of Life company. And when you hear Alpha, you probably think, dominant or the best of the best. And that's exactly what we want to be and desire to be and continue to charge after as far as our North Star. So Alpha itself, it's a performance brand, and that can be very broad, but when you really start to break it down, we hit on weightlifting, traditional weightlifting. So that could be your squat, your deadlift, and a lot of these different things we do day in and day out. So we bring about the functionality through weightlifting, and then also knowing how to move your body in space. So doing body weight movements as well, and just that proprioception of understanding how to do that efficiently and effectively. And we think of healthy aging within this space too. And as you probably know, the number one, disease within the U.S., when you think of obesity and you think of heart disease, we want to make sure that you're efficient at understanding how your heart works and how that relates to health and well-being overall. So when you look at alpha, it encompasses all three of those elements: weightlifting, body weight movement in space, and metabolic efficiency, through making sure you understand how to be efficient when it comes to cardiovascular exercises.
So let's say, obviously, I'm a lifetime member, and if I want to start Alpha program, what do I do?
Yeah, well,
For everybody?
I like to say that anybody with the mindset of wanting more, yes. Now, when it comes to where you're at training age-wise and fitness level, obviously we meet you where you are, but we want to make sure that it is safe, it's effective, and you get the most out of the workout. So if you are a member, you have access to Alpha. Within that, we will be able to assess prior to you coming into that class and make sure it's the right fit for you and your objectives, as well as like your overall health and fitness goals. So we want to make sure that's aligned, because it might look good and it might look fun, but at the same time, if you're injured, it's very hard to arrive at the goal that you're trying to achieve.
So I try very hard to look young, but obviously I'm no longer young like you. So would you accept me in your Alpha program?
100%. And I'm looking at you right now. You look good to me. Yeah. So we have individuals at the age of 70 plus in our class, and we have individuals as young as 14, 15 in our class. So it's a broad range. And like I said, it's more about the mindset that we champion. And then if you have the willpower to drive to the end result of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, we'll help you get there.
Cool. So I got some hope, and you do too.
Yeah.
So let's make some clear distinction what we really need to make and do with our lives. And as a cardiologist, I've been very, very strong about recommending health. I think, and that's how we named our company, Health, Wealth, and Wisdom. So I think health is such an important part of the life cycle. And if you miss that particular part, it doesn't matter how much wealth you have.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much wisdom you have.
Right.
If health doesn't support it, it's really a disaster. And unfortunately, we have created a lifestyle in the life cycle, in the society, that we are always on the run.
Yes.
And then something that doesn't attract us falls behind, and health is one of those. So David being here, watching him, telling us what we really need to do is greatly helpful to us. Let's explore David's brain a little bit more.
Yeah.
So David, I keep hearing about this 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
What is it and why is it important?
Well, when you break down that ratio 80-20, it can go a few different ways. But obviously we're talking about time in this space. And I like to look at the word time as an acronym and things I must execute. And when you think of 80-20, I always think of consistency, right? So when you think of consistency, what can I do consistent to arrive once again at the objective that I'm trying to accomplish? So you're not going to be perfect. You have vacations, you have events, you have things that are going to come up, but you have to put down on paper exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. That's one. Then when you share that with the individual, it kind of brings a little bit more around the element of accountability. And when you look at the accountability metric, in a sense, going back to 80-20, it allows you to get closer to that 80% of being consistent. And I'll go back to perfection, right? The other 20%, that gives you the freedom of understanding life still is going to happen and to be able to have grace in that space.
So essentially what you're saying, hey, listen, if you can't do the right thing 100% of the time, don't fret over it. It's
Correct.
okay,
Yes.
as long as you're within the 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is such a good message. I never heard people saying that in the past, because a lot of us, we start with great intention,
Mm-hmm.
and we start out fast. Take the example of New Year's resolutions. We all make them, right?
Yes.
80% or plus are out within the next 30 to 60 days. And we always start by missing one day. And we miss one day, we say, oh my God, I'm not good for this. What David is giving us a way is that, hey, listen, it's okay.
Yes.
If you miss a day here or there, it's okay. Just create the business plan, create the plan, and follow the plan. And then you falter a few times here or there, that's perfectly fine.
Go a little bit deeper. I go back to the word accountability, and then you separate it, account and ability. The account piece is, once again, the metrics that we measure for success. Did I lose the 10 pounds? Did I go down in body fat? Did I achieve the mile time in the time I wanted? That's a measurement. The ability piece is usually where we lack, right? And it's usually one or two things, either skill or will. And usually if an individual lacks the skill, that's where you can have that other person that you shared this message with, whether it's a coach, a friend, to say, hey, I want to make sure you stay on task, and let me make sure you now gather the skills needed to arrive at what we're trying to accomplish. And if it's will, that goes back to the mental piece, right? You talk about the wisdom. When you think of the willpower to do something, you got to have that desire. And when something goes wrong, with all the noise and the chaos, how you still know how to stay calm within the storm is what's key.
Yes, absolutely. We will now move over to another very sensitive subject all across the world, is the weight loss. And you guys know, I have my own weight loss programs. A lot of people have had success with that, and some people don't like it because it's very, very difficult one that I follow. And I've not talked to David before about his weight loss ideas. It'd be great to explore at the same time and see how close we are or how different we are. So tell us, how does you advise people for weight loss? What is the role of protein in there, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so when it comes to any kind of nutritional coaching, I actually delegate to our registered dietitian. That's the space that they live in, 24/7, 365. That's what they went to school for. So I always delegate to a subject matter expert in that space. When it comes to weight loss, this is probably going to ruffle some feathers, but I don't focus objectively on the weight being lost. I look at the habits, and I look at also, once again, the mindset of the why. So I start with the why. Why do you want to lose 10 pounds? Because guess what? When they lose the 10 pounds, they want to lose another 10 pounds when they get there. So it's so much more than just the weight. And I want to tap into the emotion of understanding the why. Well, I want to get back to what I was in high school or college, or I want to be able to look a certain way and fit inside of these jeans. So when you start to go a little bit deeper and unpack a little bit, they start to say certain things like, well, I want to be around for my kids. I want to be able to play with my grandkids. When you start to unpack that and understand that emotion, understand when they step on the scale, if the number did not move, but let's say they lost body fat. Let's say they're able to do certain movements that they weren't able to do before. They're able to move more weight that they at one point were not able to move before. And when I think of longevity and vitality, I make sure they shift their focus on their why and celebrate all the wins versus just a number on the scale.
I think that's a great message. We all want to lose weight, but that's not only the area we need to focus. The mobility, the ability to mentally feel good about yourself. These are also very important. And I think in David's mind, that's what he emphasizes to people who are following him at his gym, at his health place. The Lifetime establishment is by far one of the best establishment. I've been to his Frisco location, which is the newest one, and that's once you go there, it is hard not to exercise.
Right.
So I like your approach about the weight loss. I pretty much feel the same way. I do feel that what you eat also affects your mental energy, how you feel about it. What are your thoughts about the exercise, mental energy, diet, etc., etc.?
Well, I champion 5 pillars, right?
Okay.
Sleep, nutrition, management of stress, recovery, and the last one is movement. And what we tend to hyper focus on is the movement. Most people probably work out, let's say 3 to 4 days out of the week, roughly around 60 minutes. So when you break that down, that's 3 to 4 hours out of their whole week. So when you look at those other 4 elements, sleep, nutrition, right, management of stress, and recovery, that's the other time that we're spending to make sure that we get to the results. So my thoughts are nutrition is key. Obviously, it yields energy for you to be able to do the workouts that you need, but also for you to be able to be around your family, for you to be able to do the things that are needed as far as within your job. So understanding what you're putting in your body and how your body's responding to it. If you feel good, a lot of great energy, that's probably a good test of saying, yes, this is great. My body's responding well to this. If I'm feeling sluggish, fatigued a lot, your body is going to let you know exactly what it's feeling based off of what it is that it's consuming. So nutrition is a huge piece. And I want to go back to what the first pillar was. Sleep is even more important, as you probably would agree too, because it allows you to recover. You're breaking down muscle when you're working out. You're rebuilding muscle when you're sleeping. So that's why it's essential to put all those pillars together for movement to even make sense.
This is a very good representation of 5 elements or 5 pillars, as he calls it. And if you want to reach out to David directly, feel free. I'm sure Micah is going to put his email address, etc., where you can reach out to him. And I cannot emphasize the value of sleep. Personally, as a cardiologist, my sleep has not been very proper or consistent, etc., just because of my profession. And then it became my habit to not have a good sleep hygiene. But I must tell you, one thing that has really changed my life, and as a disclosure, I don't have any stocks or ownership of Aura, but this ring that you see me wearing has really helped me because it's constantly on me. It's an app and it tells me how many hours I've slept the previous night. So when I wake up in the morning, I look at it and I say, okay, have I slept enough or not? Now with God's grace, I can wake up and I can go to sleep right away too. So I'm trying to maintain about 7 hours of sleep. It's hard because I've never slept 7 hours in my life every single night. So it has been very difficult, but anything has helped me so far. This kind of, and it doesn't have to be Aura, it could be any other method you can follow, but sleep is such an important part of our existence. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned about the accountability. So how do you think, we all want to be accountable, right?
Yeah.
But where there is no deadline, like we know if we don't file our tax returns by April 15th or whatever the date is, we know we're going to get hammered by somebody.
Yeah.
So here there is only we looking at our face in the mirror. So how do you become accountable?
Well, first, I like that you use the visual of the mirror. Like, you got to be able to look in that mirror and know who you are, like why you're doing what you're doing. When you think of being accountable, and I like how you said there's no deadline, you know, life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And whoever you were 10 years ago, I'm pretty sure you're a little bit different now and 10 years later, right? So you got to understand how you continue to evolve within this journey. So with that being said, you got to surround yourself with individuals that are going to challenge you. And that is so key. Having that circle of individuals who are going to challenge you and bring the best out of you, that yields great results. Once again, it's nothing wrong with having a good time. But if that is 80%, going back to the 80-20, if that's 80% of what you're doing, then it's diminished results. And it doesn't yield something that's rewarding in the end. And your health, like you said, health is wealth. So you having that for the long term, the longevity and vitality, so you can enjoy life, that's what's key. You got to have a good source of individuals around you. And that's what I would look at it for accountability.
I think couldn't have been said any better. I think we usually define ourselves based on the company we keep. And I think this is very important that we find group of people who are energetic, enthusiastic, and has some value of life and longevity. And I think we will rub each other the energy
Mhm.
to create a new energy out of it. So that was a very good suggestion.
Yeah.
The you train so many people. There are so many people come through your lifetime place. How do you relate stress in the weight of the individuals you train?
Well, that's a beautiful thing. Being in the industry since 2008, experience is always the best teacher. So you can speak from so much of your experiences. From that, it allows me, I don't want to call it expediting the process, but I can now take from that experience and be able to survey a little bit better to understand what potentially may work for this individual. The one variable, once again, that I don't control is when they step outside of our resort, the things that they do. So what I always ground them with is once again, to reiterate it, is why you're here right now, right? I know we're talking about weight loss specifically as an objective, but why the weight loss? So once again, regardless if it's them trying to lose 50 pounds, whether it's them trying to run a marathon, it's always going back to that why. And if you can start with that why, you can start to build and branch out upon that, and then you can start to fine tune certain things. But if we don't have a clear, precise North Star of the why, it can go haywire very quickly because they're getting lost in all these other things and all that noise, versus if we go back to, hey, remember this conversation? This is the why. And it kind of grounds them to go back to, okay, let me center myself around this and get back on task.
Very, very true. The last question for the day, which is age-old saying, you must keep drinking water every day. So what are your thoughts about water, weight loss, how much to take, when to take, et cetera, et cetera?
Water is life, all right? 60% plus of our body is made up of water. And then when you think of the benefits of allow it to transport nutrients, the hydration, there's so many great benefits around the water, the quality of the water, and you having that in your body, it's a must. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. So drinking half your body weight in ounces, right? So if I weigh 200 pounds, I need to be drinking 100 ounces. Why? Yeah, I need to make sure that I'm hydrated and my body is functioning, not regular, but optimal. And that's what we're trying to be, is optimal, not normal, optimal. And you being hydrated and having water in your system delivers that.
It can't be any truer than that, because as a cardiologist, I see a lot of patients who come dehydrated. and especially when they get older and they've missed the appropriation schedule of when should be they taking and not taking water, they end up in the hospital. So you can see that clearly as a exhibition of your health. And the way you explain is, I've never heard that before, but it's interesting statistics that all of you can measure and say, eat half your body weight in ounces.
Yeah.
I mean, drink. And if you drink enough, that would be plenty to keep you hydrated, hopefully will help your mental state better. Hopefully it will make you more energetic, and hopefully it will overall play a big role in management of your health. David, what is your any few words of wisdom for our viewers today?
Yeah, I want to go back to what I said earlier, time, right? Things I must execute. So after listening or watching this episode, what I want you to do is write down that TIME, things I must execute, and right underneath that, put your why. So that's my challenge to you. We'll start there, and then obviously if you want to reach out, we can pick it up.
Cool. I'm going to take time with me. And ladies and gentlemen, great to have David Freeman with us today. And please follow all our social media. If you want to know more about me and what other programs I run, please go to the website www.paratsangani.com. Sign up for our newsletter, Life is a Business. We have passed 150,000 subscribers just recently, so we are very excited, and thanks for your support. We wouldn't be here without you guys being there, watching, and keep giving me ideas and thoughts, and to make this program better and better and bring value to you. And see you guys again. Thanks.